Test, 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 test. All right. There's this one. Let's see. Anybody joining yet? There. And I am way behind, so I apologize, everyone. Let's see. Where is my other version? Is it coming up? Okay. Let's get everything set up. There's a lot of constraints. One, two, three. Should be the other. There we are. 1, 2, 3. And this actually remembered the size. That's an update. Color doesn't look. Teeth are bad. Color doesn't look that bad. Anybody joining right now? Sorry I'm late, everybody, if you are here. I restarted the wrong hard drive. Alright. So this is going to be like a variation of... I've never seen this word, bijection. Don't know that word at all. Public, alright, example 1. Explanation. Constraints. Alright, let's get... I guess we could read that kinda. Here we are. Non-empty word. Took a glance at this last night. Haven't really dove into it. I may, while we're waiting on people to join, I may go ahead and do record today's video. Alright. Are you kidding me? Light is still coming in here. That's really bad. I can't wait for the time change. Alright. That's awful. But if I raise that up any, yeah. Let's get this back. I did what? Understanding the anatomy of your object yesterday. I think 1, 2, 1, 2. How's the volume seem today? I don't have anybody here to confirm. Because it looks like it's low again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Test, test, test. Alright. I think it's still at like 200, 250. Alright, while we're waiting on people to join, I'll go ahead and do... we did anatomy of the object done. Brain is doing more than you think. Actually, let's do this one. Color looks okay. Copy. separate you from your solutions. Hi everybody, this is Sam with Python Basics. So what in the world do I mean by separate yourself from your solutions? Well, basically don't get your identity from if you're right or wrong. So this is kind of one of the paths and one of the processes that I've been on where trying to grow and develop. I'm like, so why can I have some ideas that are so right and then some ideas which are then so wrong? So that weird dichotomy was really kind of on my mind for a while. And this kind of thought came up during one of our live streams. So we have a variety of things. So I just want you to take a minute to kind of think about this. So here's this ugly, arcane thing that works. Now it works, or even some of my really bad ideas that send me off into Neverland, and I just completely go into a death spiral or whatever negative term that you think. So I've really spent a lot of time on thinking about these things, but you are not your idea and your idea is not you. So either end of that spectrum, if you begin to get your self-confidence with it, I'm always right, well, that's not good. And then if you get your self-beratement that I'm always wrong, I must be dumb, that's not good either. So you are generating these ideas. There was this math teacher that I read about, and their term was, this isn't right yet. And they always added this yet to it. And then had an interesting experience with my last boss's boss. She would always say that, I don't know how to do this yet. And she would always put this thing at the end of it, yet. And it's very calming. So if you start to say that I don't know, or I have no idea, or I don't know what to do yet, make sure you throw that at the end of it. But you are not your ideas, and your ideas are not you. You generate these ideas. And the process and the point of this is for you to start having bad ideas, get them all out, and what's left are good ideas. So just wanted to share this topic for a minute, because I think if you're here, you're very similar to me, and you are probably having these same thoughts and ideas. So this actually came up in a live stream. A lot of these ideas are coming up in live streams of me sitting around, talking with the community, having these ideas, brainstorming, solving problems, but we're growing. That's the point of these live streams. So I just wanted to take a second and share that concept. And this is also an example. Don't ever throw away any code, because you can see how you've grown and improved. So make sure you're separating yourself from your solutions. They are not you, and you are not they. All right. Thank you, everybody. Please drop any comments, questions, video requests. Make sure you're joining the Discord server so you can get the support that you deserve and need. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone. All right. Is anybody joined in the meantime? So this may be a very good day, Venky. How are you? Good to see you. Sorry I'm late. Haven't gotten the hang of starting the right. Had an update on my computer, and I thought I restarted the right hard drive. Gave the right operating system. So I have very new hard drive, very good, very fast, and then a very old hard drive, which is very old and very slow. So I updated the wrong one this morning. So it took probably a half an hour to get going. So that's the reason for the gap of the half hour. So today's topic, I don't know if you've grabbed it from where'd it go? And so also restarting the wrong one, I'm all over the place. All right, so there we are. And here it is. So this is going to be closer to a real mapping issue. So given a pattern A, given a pattern and a string, a pattern and a string, find if S follows the same pattern. Here follow means a full match, which that there is a bijection. I've never heard that term. Between a letter in pattern and a non-empty word in S. Specifically, each letter in pattern maps to exactly one unique word. Oh, it's a word to word associate. Okay. One unique word in S. Each unique word in S maps to exactly one letter in pattern. No two letters map to the same word, and no two words map to the same letter. All right, so it's going to be very similar to the one we did a couple of days ago. All right, so here's example 1. ABBA. Dog, cat, cat, dog. ABBA. A is mapped to dog. B is mapped to cat. All right. So then ABBA. Cat, cat, fish. No. And then same thing with this. So actually, all right, now I need to double check if this is actually 400 constraint, 300 or not a power, not a power, not a power. All right. So here we are. Let's move this down here. And let me make sure I have Discord unmuted. I have Discord unmuted. Do I have my speakers on? Yes, I do. All right. So everyone do me a favor. If you are here, go ahead and hit the like button for me, please. YouTube rewards consistency, so I've got to get into... I gotta be on time more, and I gotta publish at the same time. So let's see. So dictionary to split on space, and dictionary to list. Do we think? All right, so that's Vinky and I kind of starting to share a brain. So if you're new, Vinky is my go-to solve partner, and Vinky has reminded me of a lot of anatomy with a lot of the Python tools. So let's kind of go over. If you're super new here, we're going to look at some pretty cool stuff and some really good basics. So kind of basic, kind of out of the box. It's going to cover a lot of Python with this one. And I like these challenges for a lot of reasons. I think they're really close to actually what you end up doing in the real world. Whoa. There we go. That was supposed to be over here. Pattern. All right. So there's string 1. And my keyboard is even in a different spot. What in the world? All right. Let's get this over here. And then S. Isn't it similar to isomorphic? Was that isomorphic? Have I already forgot? Have the days already blurred together? Was that? Yes, that's exactly what I was. Was that isomorphic? Because yes, I 100% agree. That was. I need to go back and look. Not that. That. In new tab. Going here. Going to be extremely similar. We just have to tweak the technique of how we're going to do it. Since it is a string to word and word to string, it's not going to be exactly the same technique, same overall principle. There we go. Same essence, but a different principle. Yeah, I guess that was that just yesterday's stream? It was. Nope, that was. Okay, isomorphic. I knew I wasn't that crazy. It was the 6th. Isomorphic was the 6th. Longest palindrome was the 7th. Contains duplicates, the 8th. And yesterday was a valid anagram. All right, cool. Not losing my mind crazy. But we did did. But we then did a published video for isomorphic. Yes, okay. But yes, that's exactly what I was doing. So if you're super new here and you see a string like this, I would throw this under split. So let's just say you're joining us and you're like, I don't know about this guy. I don't know if I want to say anything. And that's fine. So all right, split. So let's take a gander at what split does. Let's take a look at s.split. What does split do? And this is supposed to be help. Help.s.split. Split. Close this out. So dir and help are your friends, not just friends, your best friends and the best tools that you need to get comfortable on using. So all right, returns a list. So when I run split, so split is a dot method. Methods and functions operate the same. You just call them in a different way. So it returns a list, separates. It's going to separate itself on a white space if you do not pass any information. Oh, Venki, how's the volume today? Because that was the real reason why I restarted the computer and it just went sideways. Is the volume better today? Because I restarted everything and I was hoping that would solve the problem. Because I didn't change anything from one day to the next other than just being on a Microsoft call, and that Microsoft takes Teams takes a lot of control over a lot of things. Your microphone, your screen, your cameras, your speakers, everything. All right. So I'm going to take and run split on this. Bingo. So now here I am. Pretty much all right. Okay. Okay, so it's down here. So now I take, so here's an important, returns a list. That's an important word in Python. It means it creates. So you need to assign it to something. If you don't, it just sits out there and goes away. All right, so now I have this. So now S is now a list, and pattern is a string. All right. So we learned when we were doing the isomorphic, and Venki made a good point about associating these two together with a dictionary. Now, what it did cover, we learned a lot when we did that problem. Let's see what this is. I want to do that so I don't see that anymore. All right, I'll deal with that later. I just hate seeing that's ADHD and seeing that stuff. And oh, you can't see it. I have a marker on the side that's giving me an alert. Yeah, it's right. You can't see it right here. It's off screen. Okay, so here we are. We now need to associate. Sorry, I don't want to use the word map because that's not what we're doing. All right, so I'm going to create a dictionary, and then I'm going to link it to then zip. I'm going to zip these two together, pattern and S. Print D. So we can go over in just a second what in the world I just did. All right, cool. So zip is kind of like it sounds. It zips things together. Think about a zipper. It overlays right side, left side, right side, left side, right side, left side. It just goes back and forth and overlays, 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 overlays. So that's exactly what this is doing right here. So if I were to take zip creates an object. It's a generator like object, so you can't really look at it. So let me show you this. S. So it creates an object. Now, if you wanted to see the contents of it, you need to put it as this is as close as you can get. Pattern in S. It's putting it in a list. So here is the zipped objects one at a time through this. Now, the reason why this looks so different when you wrap it in a dictionary, you have a key and a value. So you would take this and then you would turn it into a key and a value. Well, you can only have one key. You can't have keys that are redundant. Duplicate. You can't have duplicate keys. So the reason why when you call this it is much shorter, because this A key is associated with dog, and you have A key associated with dog. So it's taking this, linking them to each other. So that's why here, excuse me, my morning cough has gotten worse. I think we have a little bug going around the house. So this is why this is shorter, because let's see if this will highlight. It will not. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Well, 2 duplicates, 1 right here. So now I have my association. So now what we need to do is, how are we going to check? Well, we're going to do exactly like, and it does cover that it means it maps. It said, I think we won't have to be as thorough as last time, because I believe, let's go through this, because it says it was one letter. No one letter has the same word. No, I think we're still going to have to go both direction. Hello, Motivation. How are you? Glad to have you here. Thanks for commenting and let me know you're here. I don't know if you've been here before, but we're glad to have you. So, all right. So we need to go in both directions, because I can already feel yep, we got it. We're just going to do, I can already feel, let's see. Let's see if we can rebuild this and remember. All right, so this is DP. D_S. And we move this around. Okay. Now, why am I doing this in both directions? If you did not see last video, because it says, all right, each letter in pattern maps to exactly one unique word in S. Each unique word in S maps to exactly one letter in pattern. No 2 letters map to the same word. So I guess this is mapping. I didn't want to overuse map, and I just wanted to use association, because like AAB can map to cat and dog, but not cat and cat. Does that mean no two letters map to the same word? That's what we have to guard against. Yes, I believe that's what they're alluding to. So that was why. So if we did it, so in one direction, directional association, and we needed to guard against what we did last time. Is the sun changing yet again? Do I have light on me? Does I feel? It's like right. Okay, it's below. Nope, it's right here. But I think we're okay. It's not reflecting bad by the teeth. No, that's bad. All right, so let's look at the constraint here. I can already feel it with the constraint. Pattern length 1 to 300. So if it's pattern, do we have to guard against that? No, it's not like K. It's not like that distance one. All right, pattern contains only one, which is fine. S contains only lowercase English letters and spaces. Okay, S does not contain any leading or trailing spaces. Okay, that's good. All the words in S are separated by a single space. All right. What about multiple spaces, or is it just one space? Yeah, I think you were typing just as I just read it. Single space, and we're good. So split will work. So the spaces are freebies. So we're not having to handle the space, I don't think. Now there was one challenge where you did have to think about the spacing, and you had to pay attention. All right. So here we go. Def. What is this? Word or pattern? No, we don't need to do pattern. Words. Word underscore P. Pattern S. And boom. I think I meant. Oh, I did see that already. All right. So here we are. Now, what we learned last time and what we brainstormed and we got through this much faster is they have to be, so let's return D underscore P. Before we get crazy, let's pull this out. Let's just do pass right here, because we need to do some tweaking and working. D underscore S, D S there we go. D underscore S D underscore P. All right. Dog to A, cat to B, A to dog, B to cat. All right. Now we looked at len D underscore S equivalent. Nope. S. Yes, hang on. I got an alert. D underscore P. All right, true. So our first test is they need to be the same length. So just like last time, if they are not the same length, that means they do not have the exact same association. So if you had Here, let's change this to, so you can see it in case this is the first time you're seeing here. Let's do cat, and their second example was fish. So I'll show you what happens. D underscore false. All right. So now here's where the direction matters. Since you can only use the key one time, so when you look at it and you're going to assign from A to a word, that's why down here, because you have A, and A. Let's see if I can only highlight A. I think this does full, has to be an independent. Dax, good morning, and a call at work, but stop by to, thank you so much. Absolutely. So if you're new, just like Dax was saying, if you're new, we are extremely comfortable with new questions because look, I try very, very hard to answer all beginner questions, but I know there's gaps. I know there's still gaps, and the reason why I am obsessed with beginner gaps is because that forces me to go granial, more and more granial, and that forces me to think about it. There's a Richard Feynman quote, one of the mathematicians on the Manhattan Project, and his line is if you want to become an expert at something, teach it, because you get down into the dissection of the smallest of the smallest of the smallest things. So thank you, Dax, for that reminder. So let's talk about, and this is a perfect example of the anatomy and how a dictionary works and why this tool is perfect for this example in the way in which a dictionary works. So shout out to Venki for calling this out as the solve for the isomorphic. So it's going to be very similar, just the technique. We need to change a couple of techniques, but the soul is the same. So now, when you go the other way, so as we point and go backwards, it becomes glaringly obvious that these are not the same, because when we go S to P, this A shows up because our keys are different. We have 1, 2, 3 keys, but only 2 distinct values. So that's why we devised this directional. So this double check handles anything that very quickly has a disassociation. Now, you're going to see some examples. I'm going to do them. I'm going to leave some steps out so we don't solve it too quickly, so you can see what you need to think against and plan against. So first, here we are. We're just going to check and see if they're the same length. And if they are not, we're going to stop checking and be like, hey, this is false automatically. So, all right. So we're here right here. So if len d underscore p, because right now we checked their length, because here where we're checking, they're not the same length. We're not checking to see if they're similar, because they won't be similar, but they should be the same length. So when we commented this out. We ran this, and I have, comment that. Now we have a great deal of distance. Now they're the same. S, P. Same length, but they associate same key to value, and you do the inverse, same value to key. So we're good. We're good there. Now, all right. and uncomment if dictionary P. If you've never seen that, that means not equivalent. And I'll show you a different. We'll kind of break this down. D underscore S return false. So we don't even have to get into anything fancy of checking to see if it's going to create the same string, blah 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 blah. Don't have to do it. We don't have to look and see if these are going to be equal to each other. They're just automatically fails. All right, so now that we have that, we can get rid of pass. Now, let's take a peek at equivalent. So that's not what I wanted to do. Is 3 equivalent to 3? Why, yes, it is. And is A equivalent to A? Why, yes, it is. A equivalent to B. Now, there are going to be some times where you need to check and see if it's not the same, because you need to make your header a true statement. So to get this false, this isn't hard and fast, but this is something that I adopted. So if I need a false to come out, I need to basically make a falsy statement. So if they're not equal, so it's not. So I can't check for the equivalent and then to get a false. So I needed to kind of make a falsy statement. So that's where not equivalent was created in Python. So now this is false. But what happens if I wanted to return a false and have some other things happen? So then the way I do this, is A equivalent to B? No, but I needed a truthy statement to happen. Then I use my not equivalent. All right. So we've handled if they do not map. Now, what happens if we know that Leetcode is we know that Leetcode is very tricky and very handy. Now, we do need to be prepared for a single space. So we're going to need to recreate. And I'm going to do this again, and I'm not going to cheat and go back and look at the old work, because I want you to watch me struggle with this to kind of give you a real life perfect example that I just don't sit around and go, "Oh, this is the problem," and you and you type it out. No, it's going to have a syntax error. I'm going to have an operational order of operation problem. I'm going to have a improper indented return. So I do this to humble myself, to make me uncomfortable, so when I get a technical interview, I won't be freaking out. So I might see a person on the other side of the, I cut my finger yesterday, sorry, ADHD moment. So, yeah, so all right. So now, if they are the same length, now I need to recreate this string to ensure. So I don't need to check the direction, because if they are the same length, it should work. So we handled, by doing this one simple task and understanding the anatomy of a dictionary and what it does, we took a huge bucket. We got like 80% of the stuff. All right. Actually, let's stop here and see what fails. And we will give an example, because right now this is pretty good. And here's a good example. Yeah, it was ABBA to dog, cat, fish, and then A. So if you were to look, we would have one key. If we were to go directional from zip to pattern, well, here, let's just do it, so everyone can see. Because a picture's worth 1,000 words, a video's worth 1,000,000. All right. And bingo. Pass Thought I deleted all that. We're just going to here. So now D underscore S, D underscore P. Check that out. So because in the one direction, we're going A to the string, it has 1 because you can only have one key. But now we go the reverse. Dog, cat, cat, dog. So those I get 1. So if we recreate the string, every time we have dog, we would do A. Every time we have cat, we would do A. So we would get this perfectly if we recreated and we went that way. But if we went the other way, if we took dog and we associated, hang on. So if we took A and then we went and we created this string, we would get dog, 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 dog. So if we went one direction, we would actually get a false positive. We would be able to recreate this string pattern. But then if we went the other way, we would only be able to recreate. We couldn't create both strings. So that's why this test solves this. So you don't have to, because I thought we were going to have to build both strings and then check. But this check does it. So if they're the same length, you only have to check one string. That's why. All right, so let's get rid of this and run it. Delete. And let's put this in Leetcode and see which one fails. And because I want to come up with one of their crazy patterns, because they're going to have one that is going to be so good. Hang on. It is not running. Why isn't this running? Is my internet? No, I'm on the stream, so my internet. Oh, I need to log in. Hang on. Sorry. Forgot that I had logged out. Any questions so far right now? Cloudflare. I think we may have already solved too many of these. Else return true. All right, let's run this. All right, now I'm submitting this. So what I did is in my else, I just did else return true. All right, so they're not the same length. A, B, B. Yes, it is. All right, so here we go. Yes, it is. So here's a perfect directional. This is pattern. And then string. And just like I said, in one direction, this works. Because I'd have dog. Actually, no, this doesn't work. So let's see. I can't remember if I need to highlight exact. Yeah, I do need to highlight exactly. All right, D underscore P, D underscore S. Bingo. They're the exact same length. This is why This is why I love Leetcode. It's so good. All right. How's everything looking? We're at 46 minutes because I am so late. Hang on. Oh, man. Sorry. I haven't been able to go to jiu-jitsu in a while, and they're talking about some pretty cool stuff, and I've been sick, and it's been driving me bananas. So sorry. That was that distraction. Lots of distractions. So okay. Here we go. So this example kicks it because they're the same length, and Leetcode has already thought about this for us. So now we need to rebuild a string. So we're actually going to need to take the pattern. So if they're the same length, we don't need to double check. We just can take one and rebuild the other one. So it really doesn't matter. So now what I'm going to do is, Vinky, do you think it really doesn't matter? So we're going to take the list and recreate the pattern so we don't have to worry about spaces. So, all right. So if you've never incremented a string, I think he will be true for single letters in single word. Will it be true? Will it be true for single letters in single word? Because I think it'd be one. Well, we'll find out here in a minute. We can do that test. Let me go over incrementing a string, and then we'll look at it. So here's an empty string. So this is the technique we're going to use. If you've never seen incrementation, it's literally this. So you're taking a string and adding a little bit to it, and this is the equivalent of, let's look at this. Let's do y equals 1. Y equals, so incrementation is a compressed, shorter version of this. You may have seen this. This is completely legal because I'm doing an operation on this side of the equal sign, linking it, and then, so now y is 2. Now, look at this. Here's the shorthand for this. Y is now 3. You can do this with a string. You can add to a string by adding. Subtracting from a string, you got to do a different technique. But here's x, and then I'm going to increment b. So now x is a plus b, and I'm adding to the end of it. So we're going to make a temp variable, and I'm going to make an empty string, if I can actually type today. So now here I am. And so we don't have to worry about adding our spaces. We're going to take the dictionary S, which is going to be our word to our character. So we're going to go backwards. So we're going to iterate through our, and if you've never looked at a dictionary, this is how you call an item out of a dictionary to get its value. I prefer double if I can type them. All right. So I've gone to this lockbox, safety deposit box, hotel room number, whatever term you need to visualize in your mind to go and get this information. Taking my dictionary object, passing it a position in the dictionary to then get my value. So now I'm going to be iterating through, let's look at this. If you've never seen this, let's do key. for key in dictionary S, this is the direction we're going to. Print key. Now I'm going to show you where we're right there. Yep. So print key. You can see the keys in the dictionary if you iterate through them. Now this is the way that you get the value out, where we're going to get to the value. So now I want to, there's a variety of ways you can do this, but I like this way so you don't have to do an extra step. So now I'm going to pass in d_s to get my value, right? Oops. So as they were created, and boom. So AA. So now I don't want to do this exactly. I'm going to take a temp variable, temp, assign it to an empty string, then take this, let's see, temp, increment this, comment this out. Then when I get done, I print temp at the end. Or we can temp it at in the middle and you can watch it. AA. All right. So for key in d_s, we have temp right here already created. So temp increment d_s key, then if temp equals, so now what we need to do is, as we're creating this temp variable, we're going to be looking back here. So temp and pattern. Temp equivalent to pattern. False. Hey sec man, I like that. Second. So let's see, checking lighting, sorry. So here we are, basically recreating a string, because if they're the same, as I call that key and that value and I add it to it, it'll create the same. So if I were to go and comment these out, go all the way up to here, problem. All right, this is why Leetcode is awesome. Okay. All right. Maybe we will have to use, okay, we are going to have to go iterate through S. Okay, sorry, so iterate through S. We can't iterate through S. We need to iterate. Yeah, S is a string. So okay, so here are S is now a list. So we are going to iterate through S. All right, let's try this. see if this did it, and I'll explain. All right, I'll explain what little pattern that I changed and why that changed everything. Excuse me. I have not been sleeping well. All right. So S is now a list. So what I did is, yes, my dictionary S is now this, but I also need the same length. I also need the same number of occurrences. That's why I'm handling this. So I'm iterating through this list right here. And then what I'm doing is I'm taking that key, which is not the key from here, but it really is. It's this object inside this list. So let me go over this. So I in S print I. Cat, or excuse me, dog, cat, cat, dog. The contents of my is list. So if they're associated properly, as I'm iterating through this, I'm building my temp string, and my temp string should be exactly the same as my pattern. So I went and said, hey, I'm going to look back at this list. I'm going to then call this value out of this dictionary with this key out of this list, which is this split string, and then I'm going to create the temp and go from there. So now let's throw this in and see what happens. Now again, I know me, I'm close. We may have an operational thing. Oh, right now I don't have any return temp equivalent to pattern, right? Pattern, right? Yeah, there we go. Let's double check this. Print word P and then oh, that's why I thought there was another. Pattern and S. Do I have enough? No, I need another parenthesis. Okay. All right, that's a little surprising because I figured this would return. So this is false. Why is this false? Print temp. I'm a big fan of the print statement for testing. Oh, we did not change it here. True. Boom. All right. Let's throw this in here and return temp equivalent to pattern. All right, let's run this. And I did not change that to S there either. Okay, fixing again, running. Past the weird back and forth, same length. Now let's submit for the real test. And let me get it says I have a problem What is it saying I have a problem with? Last executed input. Ooh, I think Vinky already called this out. S-string. Let's look at this one. This is good. I'm never disappointed. Pattern. There. And I think Vinky, like I said, I think Vinky already called this out. Let's see. What happens if it's single string? S dot split. Let's bring this up here. So F. Interesting. All right, so what do we have? Okay. Then D underscore P. That's weird. D underscore S. Okay, so this doesn't even run. Why isn't this running? Why isn't this running? Why isn't this running? Let's copy this and move this. Cut this and move this down here. Copy. Paste. Alright. Why is this failing? Why is this failing? Line 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright. Let's just get this to run. Pattern. S. S is not splitting. Aha! This is what Leetcode is fantastic at. So S does not split when it's a single. I've never seen this. S dot split. Why isn't that working? And because. All right, let's try this. Still doesn't like that. Is that why this failed? Do I have an S dot split? I do have an S dot split. What is S? So F is in D underscore S. All right. So if it's not there, we have to return false. So I guess I forgot that part too. Try. Whoa. Except, didn't remember this. Return false. This is me throwing this against the wall. False. So what am I doing? So if you're not quite sure what I'm doing right here, the reason why this is failing in the code is because this key doesn't exist. Because we're looking in one direction. So if it fails, that means it's not there. So if it's not there, it didn't map right. So if it doesn't map right, it's false. So let's add this to our Leetcode. I don't quite exactly remember this, but Venki may be able to recall better. Venki's smarter than I am. And then we'll go back and check. All right, so oh, I didn't move over the test result. I love that about Leetcode. You can move over the test result. Yep, I just passed that one. All right, so now let's run it. So does everybody understand the try and accept of what I was doing? Yep, and this is fast for my opinion, but slow for everybody else. Because there's some really smart people out there. All right. And would even argue that smart is relative and experience beats smart. So I believe you have raw intelligence, what you're capable of. And I don't think very many people use much of what they're capable of to begin with. And smart, I think, in my opinion, is what you can control, how much experience you've crammed in your lifetime. And I don't believe you can wiggle intelligence that much, but I very truly believe you can really change how smart you are. So it's like, hey, what do we do in this situation? Oh, I saw this 5 years ago and we do this, this, and this, and this. Okay, cool. Let's start there. And it's just, I call it at bats. I don't know. And then for those around the world, I don't know, is it still at bat for cricket and things like that? So, all right. So we solved this. How long we been on? An hour and 8 minutes. Is there anything anybody wants to look at? But all right, let's kind of take a pause for a second, a breather, and let's go over this. So what I'm doing is, instead of checking, now apparently this is still very, very slow, with me checking in one way. So I automatically know that, because you can, if you do this without this, you then have to check in the other direction, because you can get a false positive, and you'd have to check in both directions. But once you check this and you know that they're not the same length, you will never get a false positive. And so as I'm rebuilding, because if they're the same length, then both keys should have the same values, and you could be able to inversely change them. But you will get, with them being the same length, and then you're building the value building the string from the value. When you map this the other way, this single character is going to look here and it's not going to be present. And then if it's not present, you're going to get a catastrophic failure by you're trying to, because if a key is not present here, E to E, and oh, it didn't split. Hang on. I want to check something. I'm going to be thinking out loud, because I think this may be len s 8 len pattern 7. Bingo. So that's where, let's see, join split, that will work for multiple spaces. Hang on. This will work for multiple spaces. As if we build, okay, hang on, you're passing in. Is that I can't really tell in chat. Is that a blank space or is that a space that you're joining that on? So here, this is where this is very interesting. So we finally have an example of their different lengths. So right now, but it maps to, and they, no way, D underscore S, D underscore, see, they're so good. E to E, E to E, and it just doesn't even find the F there. That is so crazy. But it doesn't matter because it goes through and is only looking and mapping for the matching lengths. So it covers that. So Vinky, I guess, and again, I do not say no to you, but you're talking about recreating the string for the list. I guess if it were words, we would have to create this is what I see. Again, don't hold me to fact. This is just what mine is way more art than science. I feel my way through this more than anything, and that's why I'm all over the place with my first initial pieces of code that I write. Okay, cool. You sent it in Discord. See, this is why you got to be on Discord. This is Python. All right, so let's just take a peek at this, what we're talking about with join. So join is a string method, and it feels weird because you're passing in a iterable object like a list, and then you're adding, but you're doing it on what you're wanting to add to it. So right now S is this string, right? Excuse me. S is this list of strings. Now, so now what we're doing, so this is, I know this is weird. It feels like this should be, join should be a list method to me, but it's not, because I'm putting these spaces, I want these spaces to go between the contents of an object. So the join is associated, you put the string first, and you're joining this string object to other string objects. So here, let's go here. And then now if I were to do this is an empty string. Now I'll show you this a couple of different ways so you can really kind of get your head around it. So it's whatever string that you want to put and concatenate in between. So you don't have to actually sit there and add a string, iterate through, and then have to, and it follows, it goes in between. There we go. It goes in between. So if I were to want this as well, like a dash, join on S. So I would put a dash or whatever character I pass, and then join the contents, the strings of this iterable. All right, I hope that helped. So, all right, let's see. We cleaned this up a little bit. Still super slow. What's one of the faster ones? They did exactly like us. There's no way. Oh, there's more. Okay. Okay, here it is. How is this faster than ours? Copy. Let's bring this all over. How in the world is this faster? And then return true. Don't know where that disappeared to. All right, let's go ahead and start with this. So they're taking the words and they're splitting it. We did that too. They checked the length. They made it false if they're not the same. All right. They are taking... They're going... They must be very, very close to the connection, the server, because they're going through this twice. The only thing that I can think of, are they looking at... The only thing that could speed this up is if they're canceling it mid-check. So when I say mid-check, so they're not going through the entire list. So the only way you can make things faster when you're iterating through things is if you're not having to go through the entire list. So if you can find a flaw, and the second you find a flaw, you stop, then you're good. So that may be actually what they're doing. So they're going through P, pattern and word, in the zip object. So since you're making a zip object, it's still an iterable object, so you can iterate through it. If P in pattern, and then if P, okay, check if pattern has been encountered before. If it has, check if it maps to the current word. Else if it's not. So I think that's what they're doing. They are checking incrementally and seeing if it is in the same location. That would be the only way to speed this up. But all right, I think everybody has had their fill of today's challenge, which I very much appreciate everyone coming and spending time with us during these, and I hope everyone gets something out of this, because it sure does help me and makes me better, and I really hope everyone here is getting. I did in 3 lines return. Whoa, okay. Len set zip. Nice. How fast is that? Put that into Discord so I can make sure I copy that right and just see how fast it is on my end, because I think you have a faster connection, or you're closer to the server, because you're always seem to be a little bit faster than mine, even when I run your code. Let's see. I did in 3 lines return. So set zip. So you're taking the pattern, and it has to be the same as set s and set pattern. Perfect. That's Venki. That is really good. So for everyone, I know everybody's left, so let's go over what Venki has done. This is brilliant. So again, if it's the same direction, when you compress it down, that's good. That is really good. So this is a perfect example of understanding the anatomy of your objects. So when you take So we're taking our, we're zipping it down. We're getting rid of ooh, I'm even wondering, because I don't know how much time that is taking to do zip and then set, because I think set takes a lot. Is that a redundant? Well, no, set wouldn't matter. See, I guess that is interesting to me. So I don't know the anatomy of this. Let's see. So zip. S underscore set of P equals set zip pattern S. I want to see what this looks like. D underscore P bingo, 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 bingo. So then if we were to have, and then you're going the other way, set of pattern, excuse me, set of pattern, and then set of S. So S is after we split it, or and then S dot set bingo. All right. So we still have to, but we don't need this anymore, do we? And we don't need that. So all right, let's start all the way over. Def. When you did this, what did you get it in? How fast was it on Leetcode? Because I love that. I love that a lot. That is very impressive, Vinky. Copy, paste. Oh, whoa, bring that over. Bring this over. Yeah, bring this over. Nope, needs to unit in it at least once. Def dot word P equals pattern dot S close. Oh my word. I really must look a lot more than I ever thought. Yeah, I do. Me putting the microphone in front of my face. Comment out. That is so good. Venky, that is so good. I'm impressed. Every day we hang out. I got 13 milliseconds and it did a few more times so far. 12. I'll need to try this. All right. I want to see my connection. $13 milliseconds. That's so cool. Indent. Delete. Running the test. Huh. Mine's okay, there it is. Mine passed. Finally. Yeah, see, I'm still 36 milliseconds with your code. So, all right. Much cleaner. Are you good if I use this? This is elegant. Are you good if I use this for a junior to senior? Vinky, what? Well, never mind. I'll ask you in Discord. I'll DM you. I don't want to put your business out on the internet. But you're exceptional. Yeah. Well, we'll talk soon. So, all right. We've been too nerdy. We've run off everyone. But it is what it is. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me. You're challenging me all the time on how to problem solve, and I absolutely love it. So I've got I need to edit and get out of here and go to the gym, and there's several cool jobs and a connection I need to reach out to today. Trying to put out my feelers. But thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me, Venky. It is always a pleasure. Let's see, what is the lighting? How bad do the teeth look when on your desktop? Always welcome. I do recommend most of the time like this, junior versus senior. Okay. But yes, you do. You do point it out. But I just want to make sure, are you okay if I use your example as our next junior to senior? Because I want to start a series on this. Because I think we have 1, 2, and then this one. What was the name of this one? Hang on. Word pattern. And then word pattern. Mine to no. How have I been saying? Have I been pronouncing your screen name wrong? Venky. Remember the parentheses? I didn't actually solve though, but working with stack to check. Oh, okay. Yeah, we have not solved the parentheses yet. That would be fun, but I think we ran off everyone because we weren't making progress and they were bored. So we have to. Let me tell you about the psyche of what I've learned about my viewers. And nobody take offense to this, but people wanna. It's like everybody who wants to go to the gym. Everybody wants to. Here's a perfect example, so I can even keep myself out of this. So somebody, it was the football player. Here we go. What'd you send? Ooh, I'll have to take a look. Oh, okay. Is that the final solution, or is that just a solution you're working on? I'll take a peek at that. But Tom Brady wrote down everything that he does and broke down everything that he does. Tom Brady was I don't know if he's the most winning football quarterback or one of the most. He's and he may even be the most championship winning athlete. Something like that. So he wrote down everything that he does, but not even what everything that he does, how the building blocks of how to do everything that he does, from effort to recovery to team building to strategy to things like this. Wrote it in a book, gives it to everybody, and people see it and they're like, oh, is there an easier way to do this just to check if it balances true or false? I got to tweak it more. Okay, yeah. I haven't thought about it because I try not to think about these while we're off from talking about them because I don't want to solve this without everyone seeing it, because it's important to me for new people, new individuals to see me struggle, to give them perspective. Because if I sit down and write out the code, they're going to think they're supposed to sit down and write out the code. And that's just not the case. It takes hours and hours of practice. And even if a solution you present itself, to pull it out of your brain and get it and transmute it, transform it, mutate it into programming. So no, here it is. Your brain is doing more the work than you think. But back to the Tom Brady issue. There's some people who started to read it and go, this sounds awful. It is awful. The amount of effort and work that he put into it. It's like why in America there's 1,000 books on how to lose weight. Because everybody's looking for a different way other than eat less, exercise more. That is the book, but that book doesn't sell because everybody else is just like, well, I mean, is there another way that I could do it? Is there another way? And I'm as guilty of that as well. I used to ask my old boss, well, what do you need me to work on? Well, he's already told me the 15 things that he wants me to work on. Those just aren't fun. And human nature is just like that. So, all right, I'm going to wrap up here. We are at an hour and 32, and it's time for me to go here because I was late. So I have plenty to do today. But thank you, everyone, for joining us. As always, Venki, it is an absolute pleasure to hang out with you and have you drag me through the solutions and always come up with a very clean and elegant pattern. Let's see. So I did try yours, and I still got 36 milliseconds. But I don't see why there we go. But the memory, okay. It's eating up no memory. So that can be a plus. That can be a trade-off. All right, I just got 34, and I beat 59%. I don't know why I said. Okay, now I'm at 26. Okay, now I'm at 26, and I beat 95. Okay, now that's better because such an elegant solution. All right, Venki, I'm gonna leave for today, and everyone else who's here, thank you for joining us. It is always a pleasure. Please, if you have any questions, make sure you're dropping them in Discord and getting the help that you need and deserve. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for coming and hanging out, and I will see everyone next time. Bye, everybody.